Hello everyone. I've decided to. Hello everyone. It's been a while since I've last posted on this channel, and now I've decided to start a new project. This time the project will be directly about AI. I will skip on building the world first, and we'll start working on the actual AI and in this case large language models. Um, the topic for the project is like creating an artificial entity based on the large language models. Uh, at first it will be just using OpenAI GPT-4 API calls without any fine-tuning of smaller models or anything like that, because I don't have the resources to do this at this moment, and I don't have time, I guess. This project and series of videos will be structured as a 25 days challenge, and today is day 6, basically till the end of October. And I would like to emphasize that this is not a tutorial video, and there will be no code sharing here. I would just like to invite you to this journey with me and see where it leads us. I will be posting. Uh, I hoped that I will be posting daily updates, but it looks like I will be posting with some regularity, but maybe not daily. Let's move on to the next slide. And I would like to say a few words about me for the context for the project, because the project touches upon like uh, real AI. It's a really hot topic right now, and I have no commercial AI background, like, at all. Never worked on AI, like uh, deep learning, classical machine learning, data science, nothing like that for money. Never worked. But I'm really interested in AI for like 15 years already. Uh, my first fascination with it started in high school, after I watched The Matrix, the first movie, and I was really fascinated. I really liked living programs there, like not Agent Smith or Neo, if he is a program, or but like the blind dude. I think it was a program. Then the brothers, uh, then the woman with cookies, and programs like this. And I really liked the scene where the train comes and takes a program away. Anyway, I got really fascinated with the live programs, and I'm interested in neural networks, so in particular since then. And um, I've been in programming like for 17 years now, to different capacity, like from this high school, and I have 7 years of programming experience working as a freelancer with Python as a primary language. Like I had different kind of projects, etc. Actually, I've stopped working on my last project on this channel, the simulation one, when I started working for money. It kind of sad. It's kind of sad. Okay. Regarding AI, I do have some experience on the side, like AI projects, some competitions without any success. And I think it would add up to 6 months, I think. Like spread out over the all the 15 years of interest in AI. On the artificial life simulation that I have on this channel, I worked for 1 year. Yeah, and I just created a world for the creatures and never got to actually start in populate them with neural networks. It had everything like DNA for plants, DNA for animals, very complex soil structure. I also worked on GPU shaders, etc. But it's a different story. Now, 2 months ago, I left my last job, and I only have money left to not work, like till the end of November. When December starts, I actually have no money to live. So this is the situation. Let's proceed to the next slide. Now, motivation for this project. I'm really fascinated with artificial intelligence, living programs, and artificial life, and identity. Well, and immortality, but it's not related to the project at this moment. Now, this project is not only about AI for me, it's also about growing as a person, you could say, like achieving something that I started out and that I started. Like, I want to get to some point with this project, my personal point, not some money point. And I guess it might be a journey for you too as well. If you join me, maybe it will be fun. Who knows? Now, and yeah, these pictures are from Midjourney, specifically for these slides. This is some neural space web. Now, sorry, I need a drink. Recording videos is really hard, actually, harder than before. Also, I'm showing my face now. Anyway, project vision. Introducing Maria. We'll be creating an artificial entity, and for now, its her name will be Maria. Right? Sorry about attaching like anthropomorphizing it from the get-go. I don't know if we'll go this route fully, like giving her a human identity, etc. Well, similar to humanoid identity, or just leave it as a system. We'll see. But for now, she is a Maria, and we'll be creating her for her to evolve. Basically, evolve, learn, change, remember. So I hope to give her an identity that she will have, like, well, you know what is an identity. A number of characteristics, desires, traits, etc. because right now ChatGPT has an identity of a helpful assistant, but I want another identity for it, and I want to teach AI to change its identity. Yeah, but a, to a certain limit. We wouldn't want it to like diverge too much and become evil or something. So I want to give it a capability to self-modify and interact with the world, because like, well, with the world, like with me, but not only with me, but interact with the world in some other way. Maybe we'll do something like, I don't know if it will be visible, something with this. It's really dusty. Okay. Yes. And this AI entity will help develop itself. Like I will be collaborating with it on your own development. I think it's really interesting, and I'm interested to see what will become of this. Oh, sorry. I will stop fidgeting from left to right. Now, yes, and as as we go on, and the entity becomes more complex and complex, each infinite cycle for the entity will become much more expensive. Like GPT-4 API calls are already expensive right now, especially if you like call them with a full context window. And if we deploy like stacked API calls, different faculties of the entity, it will become even more expensive. More on this later. Like I sometimes digress in different topics or delve deeply into some. Uh, for now, can't help it. Let's move on. Now, creating the entity slide. Yes. So at first we'll create Maria as a just single layer API call to GPT-4. Then we'll probably layer it a bit like a chain of calls between interaction with the world and the decision, etc. And sorry. And later on, that's why I was talking about it becoming more expensive. We'll create like multiple parts of the entity that will be, well, it will be the same large language model, GPT-4, for example, but it will have different system prompts, roughly speaking, and maybe we'll add parallel execution. It will be later, maybe not even this month. And yes, so it will be a society for large language models. Now, some of the functions we will try to give it this month, like October, is memory, identity, and interfaces to interact with the world. Like, yes, and for now it will be a single LLM. Memory will be very important. I think the next slide actually talks about it. Oh, no, not really. Well, I will talk about it later. Now, the evolution and ongoing journey. As I said, and implied, Maria isn't a static AI. She will not be static, and as she interacts with me, the world, the internet, I guess, we'll try to gauge her access. Like, later about this. I will talk. So yes, so she will interact with me, the world, the internet, basically her environment, learn from it, evolve, self-modify, and adapt over time. And yes, our interactions with her will shape like her functions, her identity, her memory, very much so. And in all of this, I intend to make her my partner. Like it feels really weird. We'll be developing her like together, and as I write here, sounds fun. Yes, for me it is. Okay. Yes, this is a slide about memory. So memory very vital for this project, and that's why I want to start with developing memory for Maria. As you know, right now GPT API for GPT-4 is limited to 8,000 token size. It's like 6,000 words. Yes, it seems like big, like a lot of words, but when I start talking with GPT, like in the playground, it runs out. Like maybe not at the beginning, but after like half an hour, it runs out, and this is the end. I need to go into the middle from remove messages, etc. It sucks. Also, GPT-4 API will not remember your past conversations, which really limits its application. You either like need to tell it about yourself every time, or like record a piece of text. Let's talk about the basic web version of GPT. It has now custom instructions, and you can save some custom instructions, like set even some identity for the replies, and tell it about yourself, so that you don't need to recount every time everything about yourself. But I don't really have mental energy to do this when I talk to ChatGPT. Plus, it's like limited to 1,500 tokens, I think. And I really wanted to know me. I wanted to remember all our conversations in the past. Like, I want our conversations, her interactions with the world, change her. Like, we could change, like, some piece of system prompt, and it will change, you could say, her. But if we implement it right and add the memory, when she accesses the memory, it will influence her decisions. And right now it's like totally impossible. Well, basically she accesses the memory, and it still gets into the context window. So, but it will be like generated not by hand and predetermined for every interaction, and it will be different from reply to reply. Anyway, yes. This is the main focus for the near term for Maria. It will help her, well, allow remember our prior conversations and build her identity, change her. And yes, we will be able to talk with her infinitely. Right now, the basic ChatGPT version also seems to have like a very long conversation mode, but at some point, at least in the last months, like a few months ago, I've checked. Uh, at some point, you get to the end of this conversation in the basic ChatGPT web version, and even if you don't get to the end, I think they are using summarization techniques to allow a longer context. So, like, I've noticed that some details are slipping away from the GPT focus, and also uh, it actually influences ChatGPT where you put information in the context window, like at the beginning, at the end, or in the middle. And in some places, it has worst focus than in others. Like very good focus on the end or and the beginning. Yes. But yeah, this is all looks like sci-fi, very exciting and very scary sometimes. Also, ChatGPT released the Vision mode. I don't have access to it, and like speech mode. I really don't know what took them so long to release the speech mode. Anyway, this is all very interesting for me, but let's move on. Why this is not an AGI project? It is actually AGI project. Like any project that doesn't solve a particular business problem, basically an AGI project. Like OpenAI is an AGI company, Anthropic AGI, etc. Like all these dudes, even Microsoft and Google. Basically, AGI, I think, like artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence, is the end game, and I believe we are like in the last few years of actually not outperformed by machines. What will happen after that, I have no idea. Like, and alignment, safety. Whew. So anyway, back to this project. Now, this is an AGI project, but in our limitations till the end of October, like, I hope I will get something interesting doing this project. I will still intend to include ethics, limitations, and safety because this is all jokes, right? But if everyone will be irresponsible, like, and think like, this is not me, this is not AGI, I will not create it, what are you talking about? Why would we bother about with safety? Yeah, I think this way we will get to like doom scenarios very fast. Yeah. Let's move on. Yes, now we are near the presentation. Success metrics. What I would like to see by the end of October. Like, I hope to see that this entity cognitive architecture, you could say, is a bit, at least a bit smarter than basic ChatGPT, like ChatGPT or GPT-4 API or ChatGPT in the web version. Yes, I also hope it remembers like all its interactions with me, maybe with the world even. Episodic memory will be a good thing, but for now I'm only focused on the like conversational memory. And I also hope it has an identity and a few interfaces to interact with the world. Be it, well, an interface will be conversation with me, uh, access to file system, to the internet, to the robot, something like that. Or maybe turn light on or off, like in the Big Bang theory. And I hope I will be able to teach it like how to say I don't know or I want something, want to do something, etc. And make a decision, because making forcing it to make a decision is not always simple, because I think they pruned it in the early shape stage, like reinforcement learning from the human feedback, etc. Anyway, this is a metric, so if I get to very minimal version of what I like listed here, it will be a very good project, and we can say I have achieved goals here, which I would really like to, yeah, and also have fun. This is very important. I sometimes forget to have fun. I hope I will not here. And next video, I decided to split this video like into parts. I wanted to make a video every day since the day one, but I really got caught up in working on this project, then working on this project, then trying to record video, failing to record video a few times, making scenarios, failing to make scenarios. Okay, this sounds like a project report already. And fear not, there isn't very much progress on the programming side for now. So, in the next video, it will come out soon, I hope. I will talk about what I've done in the last 5 days of this project. And today is day 6, like end of day, so maybe I will release this video on day 7, and it will be a progress report for 6 days. Anyway, I also realize that making videos is very hard. Like I've tried making a script, then I read it, and it was very boring and not engaging. Then I tried, and I also revised this script before doing it. Like then I tried like just doing it in front of the camera, and it was all over the place. So I kinda got around to try this method. I also like videos of Dave Shapiro. So yeah, like it's very convenient. It's like like presentation we did in schools. I really hated those, but this one I kinda really like, to be honest. High schools in the past. Okay, so if anyone watched this so far, I appreciate it. Give it a like, subscribe, and I would really enjoy reading any comments you will leave. Like, I don't know, your thoughts about AI. Do you think it will lead us to doom and gloom on the current trajectory, or we will solve safety but it's a dangerous subject, or AI will be good and we just need to do it quicker? Anyway, maybe you have some ideas. I would love to hear those as well. Have a nice day, I guess.